Because you know why? He's a Frankenstein's monster. Ugh, he's grotesque.
He's so grotesque.
This is part of the lore now, is that we have Frankenstein monsters fighting in the U.S. Army.
Boy, this is always a challenge.
It's always hunting season.
And then it's always hunting
I paid the
season.
gas bill, the telephone, our water hardening service.
But can't you find a check stub for the tuition?
I'm sorry, Marilyn. I was so sure that I paid it. Well, maybe it's just one of those checks I forgot to enter.
Well, we can't let them treat our niece this way.
That's right. I'll go down there and handle it. I'll throw a scare into them.
No, Grandpa. I'll take care of this. I'll get down to that school tomorrow and straighten the whole thing out.
Oh, thank you, Uncle Herman. But will you be able to take time off from the parlor tomorrow?
I think I can duck out around 4 o'clock, and the boss will never miss me. Anyway, he's going to be busy all afternoon interviewing new box boys.
Hello, and welcome to another amazing episode of the Munster Hunters, the only show that dares to look down the double-barrel shotgun that is streaming network services, and all of that are fully loaded with just endless new original content. Just so much new stuff that could be watched and enjoyed. Probably laugh at it, have fun, gather a family around. We'd say nay to that and revisit a 60-ish year old sitcom about a Frankenstein monster and his grotesque family. My name is Derek, and I'm a Munster Hunter. Joining me staring down this shotgun barrel.
Wow,
Receiving phone calls, breaking into.
That wasn't supposed to happen. I apologize for my
Keith.
lack of professionalism.
That's
there.
Keith.
I mean, well, it's always hunting season. So,
That was your. Oh, geez. Oh, God.
I'm a Munster Hunter, and I look doing what I'm working on writing some notes here for my stuff today. And apparently, I had something pulled up that had sound with it. My bad.
Oh, great. Don't you have headphones? And then the other person there who was just so enraged they pounded the Frankenstein-headed monster table into the concrete floor is the Dr. Dre of Kansas. I almost said Kansas.
Yeah.
And maybe it's sunny and maybe you're tan down there. Terry.
That's right. I've got the old farmer's tan going on down here. I've been working the fields, harvesting the wheat and whatnot. So
Harvesting the wheat.
Yep. That's what we do down in Kansas. So It's been great. Yeah. And then, of course, in my spare time, like screw Stranger Things, screw like Obi-Wan Kenobi, Barry season 3. Who cares? Honestly, I would shun all of those just so I could get in there, pull up my old, 5-inch TV, black and white.
5-inch? Oh, like the little handheld ones?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
It's the only way. It's the way it was meant to be seen, the Munsters. So
I used to watch the Munsters on a 13-inch portable black and white TV with like a telescoping antenna on top of it and 2 dials, one for VHF and one for UHF.
I like the idea of his little 5-inch TV with the DVD player hooked up to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have to.
I've got a lot of adapters, plugged into it.
You'd have to have lots of adapters.
But I figured out a way.
Nice. Well, how are you gentlemen doing today?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
Yeah?
Having a grand old time. I'm excited to jump into some Munsters, as I am every week.
Well, this isn't just any episode of the Munsters. This is another wacky adventure for Herman. And it's called the Season 1, Episode 17, All-Star Munster. Now, I don't want to get away with what happens as the spoilers, but he is an all-star.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Lots of different ways. There's lots of different stuff happening in this one that's all like interesting. And there's something about this episode that might be deemed offensive to some people that live in this country.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe that would happen.
Yeah.
I don't think it's possible. Derek, and we're going to go through the whole thing, but
yes, we are. Keith,
I feel
it wouldn't
like
be a Munster Hunters episode if we didn't painfully go through every second of the episode.
But I'm starting to feel like we might be hitting that stride you're looking for.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And then you watch the episode.
Now, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm
We'll get
kidding.
into it.
Yeah.
But before we get into it, I'm going to light a candle, lead us down that dark, murky hallway to the Munster Hunters library. Open that iron gate. Go over to the shelf. What do we say was on that shelf? That cookbook. And I flip it off. Don't need that. What did you say was on there, Keith? Indiana Jones's satchel.
Yeah.
There's Spaceballs novelization.
Spaceball, the novelization of Spaceballs, and E.T.
The Meg.
The Meg.
Yeah.
All sorts of high quality literature. And we're going to pull off this dusty tome that is the Munster Hunters Almanac. And I'm going to dust it off and open it up. I'm going to hand it to you. Altar boys to priest style.
Yeah.
For the Munster Hunters Almanac. Factoid, fact, tidbit, shit. Sheet.
Dang.
Psalm of the week.
So I take a look at the book earlier, and I marked a couple pages. I was trying to figure out what exactly we should go over. A couple books I think we might want to eventually add to the to the shelves there, and that is the books by Fred Gwynne.
His illustrated children's books?
Yeah, in addition to being a star of the Munsters, and he was also in Car 54, Where Are You? Was another big thing. Also, Pet Cemetery, and My Cousin Vinny, and stuff like that. For acting, Fred also put together a bunch of books, and the majority of them, starting, it looks like 1970, is the earliest one. They're all based on like a girl or a boy misunderstanding what their parents say. So The King Who Reigned is the first one, and it's RAINED. Yeah, and so a young girl misunderstands her parents' expressions as fairy tales in this humorous picture book. Confused by different meanings of words that sound alike, the little girl imagines such unusual sights as a king who reigned, or the footprints in the snow.
Like prince, like the son of the king.
Yeah, okay. And that seems to be what all of these are kind of about. So there's that. His follow up to that was a chocolate mousse for dinner. And
that one sounds like a good one. I would buy that for the kids.
Yeah, a gorilla war, car pools, playing the piano by ear. It's no wonder a little girl is confused by some of the strange things she overhears her mommy and daddy saying. With his hilarious wordplay and zany illustrations, Fred Gwynne keeps children of all ages in stitches. So he's also doing the work as well, all the illustrations as well.
Wow.
Yeah. That was in 1976. Then looks like he takes a little bit of time off after that. In 1980, he comes back with the 16-hand horse.
Oh my god!
Which seems to be
very tall
like
horse.
It seems to be 16 hand, not 16 feet.
No, that's how you measure a horse in height. It's in hands.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Well, that explains it. This again, despite a little girl's visual images of her parents talking about such things as bells that peal, banking a fire, and a running nose, as well as a 16-hand horse.
So she thought the horse had like 16 hands. That's what I was envisioning.
Yeah.
So a Clydesdale stands 18 hands high.
Wow.
6 feet tall.
That's interesting. Why is it just horses that get measured in hands?
Yep.
Why isn't more things measured in hands?
Because I guarantee it's a very inexact measurement. And it probably started with, how do we measure it? Well, I got a hand. So they just like 1 hand, 2 hand, 3 hand, like just laddered them up to the top from hoof to shoulder. And it's like, well, this horse is about 15 hands tall.
It's about how I measure things. So
yeah. Well, that's like, if we want to get all biblical, the ark is cubits, and a cubit was technically the distance from your elbow to your fingertip.
Oh.
So I want to say Noah's Ark, according to scripture, is 30 cubits tall.
Wow, that's pretty tall.
Yeah.
Really?
Don't ask me how I remember this stuff. It's all stuff.
Yeah, I don't even
said in
remember
high school at one time or another, and is just like lyrics, just waiting to fall out of my head at the right time.
Let's say a cubit's probably about 3 hands or so, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
He does another one. It's called A Little Pigeon Toad, which doesn't really say what that one. It seems like it's another like same thing with figures of speech and stuff like that. The picture has a little girl smiling at a pigeon with a toad head on it. In 1990, he did Pond Larker, which is not satisfied being a frog. Pond Larker seeks a princess's kiss to fulfill his princely ambitions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then in 1993, he did Easy to See Why. And that's when a little girl enters her beloved dog in the local dog show. She's sure he'll be a winner, but the unpedigreed pooch is competing against some very people-like dogs that are owned by very dog-like people. Luckily, a surprise ending saves the day.
A surprise ending saves the day.
Yeah. And he has one other thing. It's called The Story of Ick. The parents of a lonely monster admonish him to put a little boy back where he found him, and maybe more will grow.
Oh.
That was in 1971. And he also did Ick's ABCs. Each letter of the alphabet introduces an aspect of pollution.
It's interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Fred Gwynne, in addition to being Herman and a bunch of other big acting stuff, also a whole bunch of books. And they all look like, especially I think if he did all the illustrations on all these too, they look pretty cool. But that's it. That is all I have for today. Speaking of books, let me close it up.
There it goes.
There it goes. It goes. You close that book and then it shrinks and spirals down and disappears. Boop.
Floats away like a bird.
It reappears next time we record. It's amazing.
It's odd how it's always dusty every time we open it. We use it quite a bit.
I guarantee somebody, me, comes down here with a reverse vacuum cleaner and blows dust all over the place.
Absolutely. I would.
It's my zen. It keeps me level and balanced.
We need that ambiance when we come down to, kneel before the tome and recite its passages.
Yeah. And it knows we're coming too. That's the thing.
All the candles light up as you go, and they're candles. It's not like somebody flips a switch. They just every couple steps, a couple more of them light up as you walk.
Yep.
It's pretty nice.
Yep. Oh well. Well, you know what? The best way to get a bunch of dust and crap off your clothes is to.
Oh well.
I don't know. I scrolled down here on the Amazon page because I did Fred Gwynne's children books, and I scrolled down and okay, there's Pond Larker, a little pigeon toad, and then the next book is not a Fred Gwynne book, but it's called Baby Shart. Poo. Baby Shart, a story about a shark who farts.
Great.
The next one is Liam the Leprechaun Loves to Fart.
Oh my
I have no idea why this is. The next one is Gomer the Gassy Goat.
Why is this a thing?
A fart-filled tale. I don't know.
I don't like that. That makes me uncomfortable.
And then it goes back to non-farting books, thankfully.
Oh, good. Okay.
Well, I'm checked out then. Never mind.
And then back to the sponsored book, Baby Shirt. Sigh. All right. So the best way to get a bunch of dirt off you from the catacombs in which we keep the almanac is to climb the 58 stairs, stone spiral up to the Munster Hunters headquarters back door, which leads us out to the nearby dock. And we hop on, and Captain Terry leads us 3 miles out to international waters.
Yep.
And then demands that we descend to the depths of hell for another edition of SCUMA.
We're going deep. We're diving. We're going to hell, whether you like it or not. All right.
Yep. Buckle up, kids.
Yeah. You're going to see some stuff down here.
Yep.
I don't want to hear no flack about it either.
Yep. And I guarantee no baby sharding.
Yeah, not even hell would support something like that. I don't
Nope.
think.
Hell's get this out of here.
This is inappropriate.
This
really?
is trash.
Yeah. This is blatantly a cash grab.
Yeah.
So this episode was directed by Earl No Strain Bellamy. He's back again.
I knew it.
No strain.
He's
got a style to him.
He does, yeah. And he directed last week's episode as well. Big time TV director, apparently. According to IMDb, he's directed 1,600 episodes of TV.
What? 1,000?
Jesus.
That's what it says.
Episodes of just various television?
Yeah, I don't think there's that many listed on IMDb, so I don't know how true that is, but I mean, maybe IMDb doesn't have everything.
That's a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so far, I think he's been one of my favorite directors for the Munsters. Most of his episodes have been kind of
He's done
decent.
my favorites mostly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see if this is the same. A little teaser for the listeners.
Well, let's find out.
Yes, but so I was scrolling through his stuff. It'd been a while since I kind of dug, since we do talk about this guy. It seems like quite a bit. But I was looking and I saw a show called Me and the Chimp.
You always find a monkey in ape-related television.
Yeah.
Yeah,
or chicken ones.
Chicken. Yeah. Me and the Chimp.
You can probably guess what it's about. It's about a dentist and his family who find a chimp and adopt it.
Well, that was my second guess. My first guess was the dean of a university.
Oh, yeah.
Finds a chimp. But dentist, close second.
Yeah. And I assume chaos ensues after that.
It has to.
But the top review on IMDb I was reading, it claims that this show is the worst of all monkey shows.
Well, okay. All right. What are the other monkey shows? What are we comparing to?
There's so many monkeys.
They had one that they listed that was like about a monkey like detective or something. I don't remember what it
Detective
was
Chimp?
called.
That's a DC character.
It's a him. It's probably
he's the world's greatest detective for the most part, right?
I do like Detective Chimp. He's a great character, but apparently, this chimp in this show is horrible. I was watching a few clips. I found an episode on YouTube, and it didn't really seem that good. The chimp was really just kind of just chilling in the background for a lot of it. He's not really the focus of the show. He just happens to be there most of the time. His son was having trouble with the basketball team. He got kicked out or something. I don't know. I was just kind of skimming, but this is when I found this very interesting, because the commercials were still in this clip on YouTube. Wow. So I found this commercial. Have you guys ever heard of Bonjour Action Jeans?
I'm wearing them right now, so yes.
Bonjour.
Is this from the 80s?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I kind of have a vague memory of that.
So there was this insane commercial for these jeans on there.
I don't remember that.
But I kind of liked it. It had a really cool vibe to it. There's this synth music that was looping. This man and this woman were posing at each other, kind of vamping to the music. The guy would pose to the woman would pose back, and then she would disappear out of frame and reappear somewhere else. They'd do another pose, and then she'd disappear again. It was really weird. And there's this really cool car that they were kind of posing around as well. And then they were and then the whole time they're going bonjour action.
That sounds familiar.
It's kind of awesome. I kind of like that commercial, but I've never heard of the Gene brand before now, so I don't think they're around. I don't know.
No, I doubt it.
But hey, that's a very nice commercial that they had there, so I'm glad I got to see that at least. But this episode was written by Joe Connolly and Bob Mosher. We've talked about these guys a million times, so blah, blah, blah. We're just going to float past them again. They've written 20 episodes of the Munsters, all throughout their biggest claim to fame. They created Leave It to Beaver. Good for them. We'll have plenty more chances to see these guys. They're kind of giving us a grim, knowing smile as we float past. They know we'll be back, so
their bloody corpse being nibbled at by fish.
Yeah. The Meg's swimming behind slowly. Mm-hmm. So we got a few guest stars on this episode. We got Pat Buttram as Pop Malroy, Robert Easton as Moose Malroy, and Frank Maxwell as Coach Roger Dinman. So Pat Buttram has 74 acting credits on IMDb. That goes from 1944 to 1995. He was kind of more of a Western guy, it seemed like. He was in a few Western movies from the 40s and 50s. And in a few of these movies, he actually played a character with his name, Pat Buttram. He was just playing Pat Buttram. And I guess it's a series or something, because eventually this show he was in has the same star of these movies. It was Gene Autry, if you guys know who that is. And his horse Champion was the second build star on IMDb, which was Gene's horse. And Gene also played himself as well. And so Pat was actually in a bunch of these episodes of the show, the Gene Autry show. And I guess he's known as the singing cowboy. He'd go around to towns, him and Pat, and they'd solve crimes, I guess, or something. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. I wonder if Gene Autry was the inspiration for Buster Scruggs. If you guys,
I bet you 100%. Yes.
No, I was gonna say I'm very familiar with Pat Buttram.
Oh, really?
But from his work in the '80s, where he was Mr. Haney on Green Acres. Well, that's in the 60s and 70s, still early 60s and 70s. But then he shows up in a bunch of Disney movies.
Oh, yeah, I saw he was in The Fox and the Hound, right?
He's in The Fox and the Hound. He is the Sheriff of Nottingham in Robin Hood, which is one of my all-time favorites from Disney movies. He's in The Aristocats, I mean. The Rescuers, he's in that as well. The Misadventures of Ichabod Crane. So he does a whole bunch of Disney stuff. And then he also does the big run of like a lot of 80s shows like Knight Rider. On Fall Guy, he is Pat Buttram.
He plays himself again?
Well, apparently so. The Love Boat, he ends up being in Who Framed Roger Rabbit as Bullet number 1.
Oh, I just watched that the other day. That's funny. Huh.
He's also in Back to the Future Part 3 as a saloon old timer, which I think really fits, with a lot of what he did back in the day and all. But I know him very much because around the same time that I probably was watching the Munsters, I was also watching Green Acres.
Gotcha. Okay. I didn't know he was in that. I must have missed that.
He very much so. Very much, yeah.
Which I did not mimic at all. I tried. Like in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to do it, and then I couldn't. I didn't practice at all.
Yeah. It's a very
he's been around for a long time. As soon as he appeared, I was like, oh, that guy.
Very recognizable voice, that guy. Yeah, I thought I'd recognize him too when I heard it, but that's funny. Yeah, I literally just watched. I know exactly what you're talking about. The Bullet that has the exact same voice, and Roger Rabbit. But we've also got Robert Eastman. He's got 153 acting credits on IMDb. It goes from 1949 to 2011. I guess he was known as the Henry Higgins of Hollywood. Henry Higgins was like a master of dialects or something. So Robert Eastman was pretty good with like different accents, supposedly. A lot of actors would go to him for help with their accent work and stuff. He did a lot of like one-off roles on TV. He was in actually a few different episodes of Red Skeleton Hour, which, shout out Red Skeleton Hour. The biggest recurring role was a show called Stingray, which is about like a submarine crew in the super advanced submarine. That was called the Stingray. This trailer was kind of a sci-fi thing. There's like fish people and stuff. But the biggest surprise was it's all puppets.
Yeah, that's one of the ones like the Thunderbirds.
Yeah.
Jerry Anderson production.
So I was like watching the trailer and I saw this like it like had the name, like this woman on the screen, but it was like, this woman looks weird. I was like, oh, it's a puppet. Like it just took me a second to realize. It's like, she had like a mask on. What's going on here? But yeah.
Oh, hey, he was in My Mother the Car.
Oh, was he? I must have missed that.
Thank you for finishing that. He was in My Mother the Car. Okay, good.
Over the Hill to the Junkyard. He played Fink. Wow, that's a great episode name.
He also, he was in, you said Pet Sematary, Fred Gwynne, famous role of Fred Gwynne. This guy was in Pet Sematary too, as like a preacher or something, I think.
In the sequel or in?
In the sequel. Also? Pet Sematary, like the number 2, yeah.
Oh, okay. So... Fred Gwynne was in Pet Sematary. This guy was in Pet Sematary 2.
Yeah, I can see how that could be confusing in hindsight. Yeah. He was in the sequel. Gotcha. I'm sure just as iconic of a role. And he was also in a movie I saw called The Neanderthal Man. I think he had a very small role, but it seemed interesting. It's about a scientist who invents a formula that reverts a cat into a saber-toothed tiger, and it turns a man into a Neanderthal man.
Oh. Saber-toothed tiger.
Nope. The clip I watched was intriguing. It's this man and this woman are out on a picnic, and the woman goes to get changed because they're going to take some pictures. But then she pops out and she's like just in her underwear and she starts posing. And the guy's like kind of surprised, but he just takes some pictures. He doesn't really seem like he's all that interested. He kind of waves her off, like, all right, you can go get changed now. And so she goes back behind the bushes. But then you'll never guess what happens next. The Neanderthal man comes and he's wearing like a button-up shirt and some dress pants. Oh. And he comes and he strangles the guy. And then he like kidnaps the woman and runs away.
Oh. Yeah. So he's not like an unfrozen caveman lawyer or sophisticated or part of modern society.
No, I assume, if I had to guess, is that the scientist probably accidentally took the formula, or he purposefully took the formula and turned himself into Neanderthal man.
Well, so when you turn into Neanderthal, though, like you lose all memory and of the present and
I guess so. Yeah,
how society works. You actually your brain changes. That is powerful stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was still wearing like clothes.
Yeah,
so I guess it must not have been that much of a change. But yeah, I thought that was a weird name for a movie, and it seemed like a weird movie. And yeah, Roger Easton had a really small part in it. But I think
I'm going to tell you what. If I'm a Neanderthal, right, and all of a sudden I have like a button-up shirt on, I'm freaking the fuck out.
Oh yeah,
right. Like I'm ripping at that, tearing it. I don't know what that is. Like everything would make me freak out.
Yes.
I would be destroying everything.
I'd probably be like curled up in a corner, like in an alleyway, just like rocking back and forth.
Yeah, just like electrical lights.
Yes.
Civilization. All these things should just destroy a Neanderthal's mind.
Yeah, not like a werewolf in a suit. That's just slick. But a Neanderthal in a suit would just that's
ridiculous.
Blows everything up. Yeah,
yeah. You know, like when you put like a little vest on a cat or something, and how they flip out.
Yes,
that's how a Neanderthal man would be. He couldn't walk. He wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah,
he'd just fall over.
Yes, exactly.
Finally, our last guest star, Frank Maxwell. He's got 150 acting credits on IMDb. It goes from 1951 to 2000. We'll actually see him again in a different episode of the Munsters, but as per usual, he's a different character. He actually has some pretty big. I don't know if big's the right word, but he's got some recurring roles where he recurred a lot. I don't know how big the shows were because I've never heard of them, but you guys let me know if you recognize any of these names. He played Captain Nye in the Felony Squad. No? Okay. He played Henry Coleman in Young Marrieds. Okay.
0 for 2.
And he played Duncan McRoberts in Our Man Higgins. Dang. All right. So he was in a bunch of episodes of those, but not very.
Oh, those are shows?
Those are all shows, yeah.
Oh, my God. I assumed they were movies.
Nope. But his final acting credit I thought was really weird. It's a short film called Amy Stiller's Breast, where Amy Stiller plays herself, and she was one of the writers for this short film as well. I guess it's about her having a hard time getting an acting job, and one day she's trying on bras in a department store, and she discovers that the image of Madonna has appeared on her left breast. So that's what the plot's about.
The image of the Lady Madonna or Madonna the singer?
I have no idea. I tried to find any more information about this, and there's nothing. There's nothing out there about it. So, yeah, I don't know, but I thought that was weird. I don't know how that would affect the world, but maybe it does. But Frank, he plays somebody named Monsignor.
Monsignor. Well, Amy Stiller's Ben Stiller's sister.
Oh, yeah, I didn't make that connection, but makes sense. She, I don't know if I've seen her in anything.
I wouldn't know where to pick her out of a lineup.
But, hey, she wrote a short film and she starred in it, so good for her.
Well, I mean, that's something.
Yeah.
More than I've done.
More than I could say, yeah. When am I going to write my short that's called, Terry's Breast or whatever?
Madonna appears on your chest. Nice.
Yep. You know what? That's all I've got for the SCUMA, so I think we should slowly rise back up. Too
late. I'm on the shore cooking a hot dog.
Like a cloud of smoke is there. I turn around. Derek is gone.
Like there is like a bubble outline of where I was. Yeah. And you're like, where'd Derek go?
You're like Batman.
Yes.
You're like Batman. We're just talking to you, and then we turn to say something.
Yeah.
Boom, he's gone.
Don't even know how we noticed. We're like miles below the ocean. Somehow Derek has escaped this up and has returned to the surface.
That's what I do. But I'm on the shore, got a campfire going, roasting hot dogs, roasting some weenies because we need to fill up. We need to have a full stomach for this one. It's season 1, episode 17, All-Star Munster. Original air date, January 13th, 1965. And it gets a 7.7 on IMDb.
Not
I don't know what we're thinking, but we'll see. We'll see. I didn't say lofty, and I didn't say, undershot at 7.7. We'll see how we feel at the end.
Yeah.
Due to an error, Marilyn's college tuition is not paid, and she is told that she cannot return. And hijinks ensue.
Mm-hmm. How shameful. How embarrassing.
It is. So we start. Herman coming home. Last week, Herman was coming home. Isn't that how that one started? He couldn't have his keys. Well, this time, maybe there is some continuity. He's got a big chain with keys on it, and he's coming home.
Did he
still can't open the door. Either way, still can't open the door.
But save his life.
Is that the chain wallet he's got there? On his...
Yeah, he is. He's got some Jinko jeans on, big chain wallet. Open up the door. Lily's like, "Oh, sounds like someone's at the door." So she goes to pull the door. He goes to do something, and then, boy, this episode starts. Everybody's on each other. So the door rips open. Herman's got the knob in his hand. And then he goes, "Look what you did."
Like, he's mad. Yeah.
He's the one holding a chunk of the door and the doorknob in his hand. And he blames Lily.
Did he not feel like it like opening up? He was just stubbornly holding on to it to keep it closed, I guess. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of behind the scenes, like, and not between like Fred Gwynne and Yvonne, but like there's some behind the, pre what we get to see of the Munsters, because Herman and Lily seem to be like annoyed with Herman seems very annoyed with Lily a lot in this episode overall.
Well, I think
he that just starts it. Like he's like blaming her for stuff, and like I was like, wow, take it easy on her, Herman. But it seems like maybe they were in a big argument before we even started this.
Possible. Yeah. But it also shows that Sherman's dumb because he's pulling the door and Lily's pulling the door. It only goes one way. Mm-hmm. So, and Lily was right. So anyway, then we get some ADR voice replacement, and Lily's like, "We have much more serious problems." Did Grandma blow up the dungeon? No. Marilyn came home from college crying because they said not to come back. Then there's some more ADR with Herman and Lily. Boy, they must have lots of microphone problems. And then Lily says she's crying her eyes out. And then, of course, Herman did that once. And it took forever to get him back in.
And why is that?
Because he's Frankenstein's monster.
He's some sort of, undead being or something,
And they have no idea why she's upset. Nobody said, "What's wrong, Marilyn?" They just let her run upstairs and cry. So Lily wonders if it's because of her grades. And now, boy, Herman really leans in and says, "Yeah, she's from your side and y'all are dumb. It's your sister's kid. And, I don't want to say nothing, but y'all are idiots. Yeah. I got the Munster brains." And then Lily's like, "Oh, yeah."
I love that. That was so weirdly, like, antagonistic, but it was so funny, too.
But Lily's like, "What line were you in when they handed out brains?" Yeah. And I'm like, "Well, because he's a Frankenstein monster." And then Herman's like, "Well, they brought everything to me. I got curb service."
Yep.
Or modern day, he ordered on his phone and pulled up, and they brought it out. They pulled it into slot 2, put it in the app.
Yeah, just leave it at my door.
Out. Yeah. It says
it's Uber Eats. What if somebody eats his brains when he got there?
Yeah. You never know. What's his face from the Daily Show could be eating his brains right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the banger. And then we come back. Grandpa is pissed at the college, and this is kind of where we started with the opener. But he said something. "I'll turn myself into a California student and upset the whole campus." So okay. I thought they were in California.
I thought so too.
Mm-hmm.
But then wouldn't that you just be turning into a student because they're in California?
Maybe it means like University of California.
University of California?
Yeah.
Maybe he's a golden bear. Who knows?
Seemed oddly specific. I feel like he could just go to a college campus and they would upset everyone. Like just as.
But yeah, he wouldn't even have to like dress up as a student. He would just have to go there.
Yeah.
So Marilyn has a note that says she didn't pay for last semester. And Lily's like, Herman's like, "Well, you handle the checkbook. You find out." So that's where we came in at with the thing. She paid all the other bills, the water hardening. Ugh. But we had this. So this episode is a 1960s version of Family Guy. Or Family Guy is a 19 or 2000s version of the Munsters. Because Herman goes, "This is so embarrassing. No one's been thrown out of school since Grandpa got caught hanging in the rafters at Vassar.
Yeah,
I had to get in out of the rain. I had to get out of the rain
for 2 weeks. And then but that's like one of those things, you think that's bad.
Yeah.
Grandpa got caught out of hanging from the rafters.
Cut to some sort of
Vassar.
flashback. Yeah, exactly.
And there's several of these in this episode. Also, one more thing. Why did Grandpa want to get out of the rain? They love the rain.
Good question. I did not cross my mind, but you are right. He should love it out there. Yeah.
Oh, well. So Lily's paid for everything like we heard in the intro, except for that. So Grandpa's going to go down. Herman's like, hell no, this is mine, G. Marilyn wonders if Herman can leave work. We already heard all this. So then we cut to Westbury College. The basketball coach, very excited. Well, I couldn't tell who was the coach and what was the other dude. So the head coach was the guy that looked like, Keith, was that the old coaches from the Pistons? Chuck
Daly,
yeah. He looked kind of like him. But then there was the other guy in the sweatsuit with a whistle. What was he?
I guess he was like the assistant, maybe? I don't know.
Trainer? I wrote down trainer. Anyway, the trainer's excited. The coach is excited. This kid named Mallory is coming in. He spent 6 years in high school in Kentucky. But I wrote this down because this made me laugh. He's got footwork like a gazelle, hands like a gorilla, and he's tall as a giraffe. I'm like, holy shit, this kid's huge.
Yeah. That's a big guy. Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
But they call him a big dumb ape from the hills.
Yeah. Yes, they do.
So
they have no respect for this guy.
The predecessor to the hick from French Lick
is Mallory, the big dumb ape from the hills.
Also, I like how they give him a nickname Moose. So you're imagining, like, immediately you're picturing like a really, really big dude.
Yeah. His name is Moose Mallory. And so you do picture a Herman-sized individual.
Yes.
With a name like Moose. Because every other Moose you see like in movies and stuff like this, like, my name is Moose, he's like a big guy, can't fit through a door sort,
Yeah. Usually he's a lineman for football, not a basketball player. So yeah, I'm picturing like a big shouldered tall dude. Because what was the last time when Herman gets mistaken for that like the driver?
Yeah.
In the getaway guy. That guy's actually pretty big. I mean, he's not Herman big, but he's still pretty big, and that's what I'm picturing for Moose. Yeah. At least at this point.
So how many episodes is this now where Herman has been mistaken for something else?
Which is surprising, but Herman is very recognizable as a grotesque being. Like, how does he keep getting mixed up with these other people?
So we have a Frankenstein's monster here that gets mistaken for Moose Mallory who plays basketball. We haven't gotten that far yet, but it happens. He was mistaken for a robot. He was mistaken for
a criminal.
His own twin brother.
His own twin. What was there when you just said, Keith?
Like the getaway driver guy?
The getaway driver. It's always like, we've never seen this guy, but he's big and angry and dumb. And then in walks Herman. They're like, well, that's got to be him. So anyway, the coach, they have a plan, foolproof. They're going to get on scholarship, and before he can flunk out, to win the championship. And then the other coach with the whistle, he'll be off to bigger and better things. I don't know why, but he will be.
This sounds, it's, just like anything today where like, somebody does good at one place and they bolt before people realize that they were paying people. And
what's his face coaches the Seahawks? Pete Carroll. So anyway, he's late. He was supposed to be here at 3:30. And now the coach is very puzzled and concerned. Right? He had like he like crossed his arms and like furrowed his brow. He's like, it's the first time in the city. Maybe we should have met him.
Yeah, probably.
You think your big star recruit, maybe you should have met him or had somebody go meet him. Like,
especially after you called him like a big idiot or whatever.
This guy's a big dummy in the city for the first time.
Coach K's not doing that. No. Nick Saban's not doing that with prize recruits. No.
I like to go and meet all of my recruits at the bus station. So the big goon.
I like that. It's a good Coach K.
That's my Coach K. Yeah. So the big goon, they say the big goon could be wandering around like a zombie. Cut to Herman, who can't figure anything out. There's arrows with words painted on the wall, like library this way, science lab this way. He's like, you need a PhD to figure out how to get around here. Yep. So then to cement that Herman is not smart, He asks a statue for directions.
Yes, he talks to a statue for a long time.
Yes,
honestly.
he does. He has a
So
conversation.
it looked like somebody Lily knew.
No, it's Lily's brother, Lester. Is that what he's talking about?
You look just standing there. You look just like my wife's brother, not Lester.
Surely.
So in this episode, we learned that Lily has a sister and another brother.
Maybe he's like the living statue or something.
It must be. He's made of bronze.
Yes.
He's kind of Abe Lincolnish, but not quite.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he does have that conversation. Excuse me. Oh, wait, you're not alive. Then he talks to him some more, starts to walk away, and then he's like, hold on. He comes back to explain himself to the statue. So we cut to Coach is going to give this Moose character another 10 minutes. Well, I'll give this yokel another 10 minutes. And then the door opens, and there's Herman standing there. And he's taller than the door, which I liked. Like the door opens so you can't see his square head. And then they're like, oh, you think that's him? It's got to be him. So he comes in, and they're like, whoa. And now Whistle Man, he is a little freaked out by Herman. Mm-hmm. Coach Daly, not so much. He's looking at him. He's like, okay, he's big. He's real big.
Now, is it just me, or does it look like Herman steps down? Like when he comes to come in through the actual door.
Oh, yeah, you're right. He did there was maybe it was hard for him to bend, so they gave him a step to come down.
Yeah, because he does. It's not like he leans in to go underneath it. He literally it'd be like if he squatted down on his knees a little bit and then walked in.
It could be because he can't feel the top of his head, so he probably rammed into shit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So and in canon, it's probably just his reality warping powers helping him out as he steps as the ground shifts beneath his feet. So.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, perfect. Keep it in canon
to give him clearance. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. The ground is like the house from Encanto. It just moves around and lets him manipulate and walk around. It's great. So he gets in there, and Coach is like, grab a chair. And for some reason, there's an incredibly heavy barbell on the chair. That's not where you would store a barbell.
No. How did Herman get there in the first place?
I don't know. And it's real heavy because Herman grabs it with one hand, and he goes, here you go. And he gives it to the other dude, and it rips him to the ground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you're right, Terry. How did it get there? Why did it get there? Yes. Why did somebody put that there?
Whoever put it there, it's probably been sitting there for a long time because obviously coaches cannot move it.
No. Probably get the whole team in there to lift it. No. Herman sits, and then we have probably the 15th episode where we do this. How tall are you? He says he's 7'3". And then the other coach goes, in your stocking feet? No, in my stocking feet, I'm 7'4". I wear really thick socks. That is one of the dumbest things ever. I swear to God.
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
Yeah, it's an early version of was in Fletch. He's 6 foot, 6'6" with afro.
6'6", but it's not even that. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
You would think his shoes would make him 7'3". He takes off his shoes. The same socks that he had on inside of his shoes don't just expand, or maybe they do. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Reality warping feet.
Mm-hmm. They're inflatable socks.
Inflatable socks. Yeah, they're like the inflatable devices on an airplane. You pull the string.
Yes.
I wear mine on the SCUMA just in case something happens all the time.
You know what they are? Have you ever seen those? They're like socks that fill up with water, and they're like massage socks. And they're supposed to be warm water, and they bubble, and it's speaking of airplanes, it's something you would see in the airplane Sky Mall catalog.
I missed that. That's the whole subject. No, I don't remember those though.
Oh well. So then that makes people look at it weird. And then they're like, well, we got to give you a tryout. How are you at passing? And then Herman, and then of course, here we get all the dumb, I'm very good at passing. I passed 2 trucks and a station wagon on the way over here. They're like, boy, this guy is dumb.
Yeah.
Coach looks very concerned that Herman is a moron.
Yep.
Very concerned.
As he should
Jerry,
be.
the trainer, I have no clue who he is, shows him to the locker room. He goes, come on, Moose. And Herman laughs. Oh, you college kids and your nicknames.
He loves that. He likes being called Moose. I hope that sticks.
Here's where it happens. And here's where the magic starts in this episode. The bus we're at the bus station. The bus pulls up, and a tall kid and a country yokel dad get off. Holy shit. Holy shit. This is it is too much. It is way too much.
I was immediately concerned. Like, we're going to be spending a lot of time with these people, aren't we? Oh God.
Yeah.
Also, that's not a moose.
No, he is not a moose.
True. Yeah.
He kind of looked, in my mind, like Alan Tudyk.
Yes, he does. You're right.
He looks like Alan Tudyk. Maybe his dad. Anyway, the bus was 2 hours late on account of hitting that mule.
Yes. This is a different show. These guys do not feel like they belong here at all.
Yeah. Gonna have to track down that college ourselves. Because they're like, well, why is it nobody meeting us here? Well, we're late because of that mule. And get to feed ourselves. Best to get walking. And boy, Dad does not like that at all.
No.
Walk? You're crazy. You play basketball. You won't have to walk again. And I'm like, okay. Gonna get one of them cornvertibles.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh, and Moose doesn't get it none. That's what I wrote here. Moose don't get it none. It's like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
It was
weird.
very difficult. The dad's like, you do the play and leave the thinking to me. And then Moose says, best get to walk.
And then they just walk anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it is that guy's got the dad. He's only got one verse. Like, the other guy's known for doing a lot of dialects. The other guy has one thing.
No, that's his thing.
That is his thing, and it is everything that it's what the Sheriff of Nottingham sounds like. It's what it sounds like in Green Acres. It's like, it is one thing and one thing only.
He is offer only on all of his roles. They just call him like, hey, you want to do this? And he says yes. He doesn't have to audition. They know what they're getting with him.
We need a Kentucky yokel voice.
A guy that can recite lines with that voice. Yep.
Yeah, we know who to call.
So we cut to Herman. He's in his trainer outfit, sweatsuit.
Love it when Herman's got a new outfit. I love that every single time.
Herman doesn't wear a new outfit very often. You're right, Terry. So this is good. And I actually really enjoyed this whole little segment here.
Yes.
So Herman wants to see the dean. So the coach thinks Herman is a moron, which is pretty spot on. He goes, first you have to play some basketball for Coachy.
Yes, he calls himself Coachy.
I'm like, oh my God.
That was so funny.
It's a rule we have around here.
Yeah. He said that. I'm like, oh my goodness. And Herman's like, I bet they don't have these rules at Princeton. So Herman, who's holding the basketball the entire time, not in a way that would make you think that he's gripping it, but in a way that make you think it's taped to his hand. He's just like waving his hand around with the ball. He flings the ball over his shoulder. And they're like, don't you want to get in a position? And it goes in, all net.
He sinks it, yeah.
And from what would be considered one of the luckiest shots on the face of the earth, they go, he's sensational.
Yeah.
That's the only part that bothers me, because now they're like, let's do layups. And Herman's like,
he's laughing.
Very excited.
He's in on it now.
Yeah. He laughs and he clomps his way over, grabs the ball again, and he lays it in, throws it over his shoulder, starts dunking it. They're like, oh my God. And yes, it's not Fred Gwynne. It's very obviously another person in the Herman Munster outfit.
Do you want to know who it is?
Yes.
It is Daryl Imhoff. Daryl Imhoff, he played NBA basketball for the Knicks, the Pistons, the Lakers, the Sixers, the Cincinnati Royals, and the Portland Trailblazers. Wow. He was a walk-on at the University of California, Berkeley. He was a two-time All-American, was a top rebounder 1959 for the NCAA championship team, and hit a winning basket with 17 seconds remaining. Leading scorer and rebounder of the 1960 NCAA runner-up team. And he was a member of the gold medal winning 1960s Olympic basketball team. Pretty solid basketball player, and his only IMDb credit is the Munsters, Herman Munster in basketball game.
Yeah. Nice.
Well, I mean, he's dunking it. He's dribbling between his legs. He's passing over his shoulder. The rest of the team comes up. They're like, "Oh, who is this hot shot Frankenstein's monster?"
Yeah.
And so they're like, "He's globetrottering in it."
He is. He missed his calling. He should not be at the funeral home. He should be playing basketball.
Yes, he's a natural.
Which
you know this already.
Which, by the way, this then I think like because they film this and they know that he's in this. Also, I think then leads to like Grandpa saying that he show up as a California student on campus. It's a little nod to Imhoff being a UC Berkeley kid.
Maybe, very possible.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Herman, Duncan, passing, shooting it over his head, little hook shots, little layups, easy peasy. He even punches one in. He serves it like a volleyball kind of. I'm like, my God. And he hasn't missed a single shot.
Nope.
So he is a bit sensational.
And I like how every time they actually show Herman and you have to get to see it's Herman, like it's obvious he is not on an actual basketball court. He is just, it's not even like green screen. Well, I guess it could be for that time. He's in front of a wall.
Yes.
Just doing weird stuff. And looking at the way that he's doing stuff, it's like there's no physical way that ball could ever go in the hoop.
Well,
I mean, except for Herman's bending physics and stuff like that as well. It's still manipulating and warping reality probably helped him out. But yeah, it's just so crazy how they keep every time they show him, he's just in solitaire by himself. Nobody's near him.
Yeah. When he shoots it, he creates a gravity well right over.
Oh
the
yeah.
hoop. So you just got to throw it in the direction. Okay, so he punches one in, and then as he's walking away, he flings one over his shoulder that goes through the backboard. And I'm like, okay, there's the Herman we all know and love. And he's like, "Arr!" But Herman wants to see the dean about tuition, and they're like, "Oh, Herman, you sign this paper, you'll never have to worry about tuition again." Herman's like, "All right," because that's the only reason he's there. He just assumes this is some weird hazing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So he signs a paper, and they're like, "See ya," and Herman leaves. And as Herman leaving, he sees the rope hanging from the ceiling of the gym. And I didn't even have to watch the rest because I knew what was going to happen. Herman looks at it and he says, "Boy, I'm going to climb this rope." In his head, at least. Mm-hmm. He grabs it and then he pulls the rope down from the ceiling, and then chunks of ceiling come down and land on his head. And then he does the like the "I don't know what to do. I'm Herman Munster" look.
Yep. Yeah.
Does he say fiddlesticks at that point too?
I don't.
I thought he said it.
I thought he said. I mean, it's totally possible.
No, I thought there was at least one time that he said fiddlesticks in this episode.
He may have. I didn't write it down.
I mean, I only watched it like an hour and a half ago. You'd think I'd remember.
We started an hour and a half ago. So the coach thinks they'll have the best season in school history, and then there's a knock at the door. It's the Mallorys. "You reckon we're in the right place?" And then I really enjoyed this line because the coach goes, "No, fellas, the course in television acting is down the hall." I'm like, "This here's Moose Mallory." Oh, no, we just signed Moose Mallory. And then it's like, wait a minute. If you're Moose Mallory, then who was that? Wait, look at the signature. Oh, no. And he pulls Whistle Man over and he says, "Look at this. It says Herman Munster. We should have seen the signature prior to this moment. Verified it. Had this notarized. Anything." Mm-hmm. We didn't do that.
No, because we're going to win a championship. Greatest team in the history of the school. Why would we check things?
They just assume they found some other extremely gifted athlete that stumbled here by mistake. And they're not going to question fate. They're like, "Hey, we got Herman Munster. He will make any other basketball player look like a creep."
Yes. What a weird way to say that, yeah.
I was like, okay. So then Whistleman goes, "How do we get rid of these hillbillies? They came all the way from Kentucky." Oh. Coach says, "I will graciously explain the situation in the fine tradition of college athletics." And he goes over, "The job's filled. Get lost, you bum."
Yes, that was amazing. That's one of the best jokes in the whole show so far. I was cracking up.
Yeah, straight up D-bag.
Yeah. Like, "Get lost, you bum." He even calls him a bum.
Don't worry, I'll take care of it. I'll handle it. Don't worry. Just very nice and calm, and then walking on. It's great.
It basically shoves them out the door.
Yeah, totally. You like, Probably would have kicked him in the seat of the pants if there wasn't a giant hole in the ground that Herman had to walk through to get in. So Herman, Marilyn, Lily, and Grandpa, they are at dinner. And Herman, very proud of himself, explains to Marilyn the tuition's all taken care of. Talks about the strange rules and working out in the gym. Grandpa, very suspicious. And then Eddie runs in with the evening paper with Herman's name in it. And Herman's like, what? My name? Eddie's like, right there on the sports page. Coach Roger Denham predicts a winning season with the enrollment of local athlete Herman Munster. Now, Grandpa looks positively giddy. He's very excited.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's looking forward to getting on campus.
No, well, maybe. I think he's got other plans. Marilyn looks very concerned, and he says, "Wait till I tell the guys," and he runs out. I think Grandpa was excited because he's going to lay into Herman now, because everyone starts yelling at Herman.
Yes, everybody is just giving it to him. Yeah. He's getting roasted again. Yeah,
he 3-pronged attack on Herman, and he's just getting yelled at. And Grandpa is like, that was your tuition, not Marilyn's. And then Grandpa leans in even more. He goes, sometimes I don't think you have enough sense to come in out of the rain.
I do all the time.
Once again, they love the rain. Right?
True.
That's their thing.
You know, there's a scene of like Marilyn and Herman like sitting outside in the rain at one point in the show, I believe. And
yes.
What a lovely day or something.
They love the rain. Mm-hmm. This is twice in this episode where they've talked about getting out of the rain. And Herman's like, sure I do. I've done it lots of times. Then Lily lays into him.
Yes.
You're so gullible. You think this is bad. This is almost as worse as the time you went to that television show and almost ended up as queen for a day.
What does that mean?
No clue. But this is where I do want the cutaway.
Yes.
I want that flashback.
I want to see Herman as queen for the day. Yeah, I would love that.
And it's like him and this like old woman, and they're the finalists.
Yes.
And the winner is, and Herman's all, and then he puts it on the other woman.
4 women, each with a sob story, vying to become queen for a day. It was on for a while. It was on radio, but then it was on NBC. ABC had it for a while as well, and it was also syndicated from 1969 to 1970. But it was on in like 1945. And then also Lifetime did a special in 2004.
Oh, there you go.
Wow. Yeah. So that's kind of an old reference, even for the Munsters, the 1945.
Yeah.
But, well, it was on NBC from 56 to 60, and then ABC from 60 to 64.
Okay.
So like right at the same exact time here.
Yeah, I'll give it props. It did like send my imagination flying. Like I
like my version better.
Yeah.
So Marilyn is still sad. Lily yells at Herman some more. Don't just sit there with that vacant look on your face. Aren't you worried about this mess you've gotten into? And he's like, darn right I am. Need to figure out how to get into shape before basketball season starts.
Yeah. Love it.
But man, Herman, everyone in this show, like Herman's giving it to Lily early on. Yep. Herman calls Lily's family a bunch of idiots.
Yep.
Now everybody's yelling at Herman. So Papa Mallory, he reads the same paper, apparently, the evening one. And he figures this Herman Munster is the one that rinky-dinked Moose out of the basketball team. And that's what he said, rinky-dinked. Moose should have known. It's like, I thought this town was full of fancy people. The bus station vending machine didn't give me a comb. It shot perfume at me.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
it's like, well, I can't smell it. It must not have been enough to take.
Ugh.
So for some reason, that Munster City Slickers address is in the paper.
Yes, they listed where he lives.
That's what I thought was weird. I'm like, is his address in there? No, journalists don't do that. No, there it is.
Why they dox Herman Munster?
Yeah,
but they did.
Doxed him.
However, even if it wasn't, like, if they didn't add it, somebody could go down and be like, anybody ever see this weird looking dude?
Yeah.
And go, do you mean the giant green guy with red eyes? Like, yeah, he lives over there. You can't miss the house.
I mean, they could have opened up a phone book, too. I bet they're listed. Anyway, we're going to go find that Yankee and rearrange his bones Kentucky style.
Oh, yeah. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Like chicken, I assume. his face would look like Annie Lou Humphrey when she fell in the feeding trough and them swill happy hogs just about chomped her to death.
Oh my God.
Wow. So that's another one of those. You think that's bad? He's going to look like Annie Lou Humphrey when she like this hyper specific Kentucky anecdote. Oh,
it's their equivalent of like Derek when you and me talk about something very specific of high school.
It's very hyper specific. I don't ever have you talk about anything hyper specific like that. I groan when it happens. So back at the Munster house, Grandpa and Lily are still yelling at him.
Yep.
And Grandpa, very responsible, called down to the school and the coach, he'll be there all evening. So you better get your butt down there and figure this out, Herman. But Herman doesn't want to go get yelled at by those nice men.
Those nice men might yell at me, he says.
Yes. And then Lily goes, "Are you a man or a mouse?" I'm like, holy shit. Lily is very upset at Herman.
Yeah.
And I'll be real honest. Herman didn't necessarily do anything wrong. He just wanted to find that. And before he could even make his inquiry, everyone assumed he was somebody else and shuffled him around.
And he was having the time of his life, too, when he was down there. He was having a blast. I think he might have found his passion.
Yeah. His passion.
Yeah.
My calling in life is basketball, Lily. You never knew this about me. Are you a man or mouse? And Herman's like, after so many years, hundreds of years or whatever, you can't tell already? I'm like, Now the yokels, the Kentucky folk, they're outside the Munster house, but it's not raining, sunny, very windy, wolf howls. Yep. They think the Munsters live in a mansion, very fancy house. No one back home could afford something this nice.
Yeah, they're very impressed.
And they are not intimidated by the Munsters' wealth.
No, not at all.
Now, this entire time they're outside, there is like this hoedown country, like acoustic guitar song playing that I really enjoyed.
It was nice.
Yeah.
I will just throw out, though, I think it's a missed opportunity. We should have the Munsters theme, but like all like country style.
Yeah. Oh, that is a missed opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So Papa Mallory comes up and knocks on the door, and you hear go, 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 go. Herman answers. They're not scared.
No.
Like, what you think, Paul? I think this hog's already chomped on this boy's face.
Back to that hyper-specific reference.
Yes.
Still referencing it. Yep.
But now we cut to, they're all inside. The Mallorys are on the Munsters' couch, and Papa Mallory is so upset. He's explaining everything. And then they kicked us out, and blah, 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 blah. And they were going to sheep dip Herman's gizzards. Like, wow. Lily explains that it's just a mix-up. Mallorys aren't scared, but I noticed they're not scared by the Munsters at all.
Yes.
No.
See, not one bit.
These people, these Southern people, have been kind of annoying for a lot of it, but I actually really like this angle where there's finally just some people like they seem perfectly comfortable around.
They're too dumb to be scared by the Munsters. I think that's what the takeaway is.
But I liked it. That was nice. It was refreshing.
Yes. So Herman explains that I just headed down there to straighten it all out. And Herman tells the Mallorys, hang tight. Chill with my fam. I'm going to go figure this out. And then when I come back, it's all good. So Grandpa and Lily are going to make the guests feel comfortable. Papa Mallory instantly puts his feet up on the table.
Yes.
And then he tells Grandpa if he came to their hometown, dutied up like that, people would bury him before he could blink an eye.
Grandpa says, likes that.
Oh, thank you. I'll consider that an invitation. I enjoyed that.
That was good, yeah. And a vampire, all they need is an invitation.
Yep.
Oh, good call.
He's going to go destroy a whole Kentucky town.
They're doomed.
Lily says, hey, the fire went out, Grandpa. Why don't you go fix that? The fire didn't go out. There were flames. Grandpa goes to light it back up. He blows on it, and a big ball of fire comes out. Moose's feet, which are up on the table as well, catch on fire. And he says to his dad, you're closer to my feet. Can you put them out? So But Dad stands up and starts beating his feet with his head and says, "Don't expect me to do it every time." And then eventually he can't put the fire out, so he just puts the hat over the top, and the fire continues to burn underneath, which I really enjoyed.
Grandpa is like frozen almost. It seemed like he doesn't even blink. He is fixated on what's happening with the fire and putting out the fire on the feet. I mean, it's not like he does anything to try to help. And he literally looks, I don't think he blinks the whole time. He's just staring like, I'm like, did they just like edit in something different? It's just a still of Grandpa. I mean,
no, it's Grandpa. He just doesn't know how to do like space work.
Yeah.
Look busy, Grandpa.
He just stares.
Yep. So back at the coach's office. What do you mean you won't play basketball for this noble institution? Are you out of your skull? And then, of course, Herman has to touch his skull.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I haven't been out of it in years.
Actually, he doesn't. I'm going to give him props because he doesn't say anything, I don't think. I think he just touches his head like, is it still there? And then that's it. I was going to say, I'm pretty proud that they didn't actually have Herman say.
No, he had a line.
Did he?
Yeah.
He says, I haven't been out of it in years.
Oh, well, never mind. I take back all my compliments about that.
Yeah. Well, there's a moment where they do the same joke again, and he doesn't say anything.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
Herman, he just can't accept the scholarship. They think Herman's trying to strong-arm him, because that's what Herman... Boy, this has got every episode wrapped up into it in some capacity. They're like, well, he's not happy with just a scholarship. He's trying to get more money or a convertible. Herman just doesn't want the scholarship because it isn't his. It belongs to another. And in the interest of fair play, blah, 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 blah. There's all sorts of stuff. And then the coach goes, he is out of his skull. And that's where Herman just kind of like adjusts his skull a little bit with a concerned look on his face. And now... we come back. We are in the kitchen. And this is where we have a clip.
Come right this way, Mr. Mallory. This here is our kitchen.
Oh, a separate room for eating vittles, and now look at all these modern conveniences.
Looky here, Pa. There's no pump. The water just comes splattering right out of the pipe in.
Yes, and that's one of them new automatic dishwashers I've heard tell about.
And this is our icebox.
Oh, land of Goshen, look at all them eggs. And big ones, too.
Oh, yes. We keep our own vultures out in the back.
Ooh-wee, I'd sure hate to reach under one of them critters when they is nesting in there, wouldn't you, Paul?
Marilyn comes down and sparks a flying between Moose and Marilyn.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mallorys come in and they're wowed by a kitchen. And those eggs are enormous. Did you notice that there was an actual lantern burning inside of their icebox?
I didn't notice that. No.
Yeah, there's a gas lantern burning inside the icebox.
No, I was too taken back by the size of the eggs.
Yeah, but they got their vulture eggs, which are probably the most delicious of eggs.
Artisanal, free range, home.
Yes, yeah, free range,
homegrown
vultures.
Eggs.
Yeah, and then Moose comes down, or not Moose. Marilyn comes down, and Moose takes off his little straw hat. God bless it. We didn't really describe Papa Mallory because he's wearing overalls and a tie. Boy, oh boy. All the modern conveniences, and they're blown away by them all. And it's like, hell, boy. But anyway, Moose and Marilyn, they hit it off, right?
Yeah,
and
they're
Lily's
sparks.
Like, what's that?
They're sparks. This is, getting a little spicy.
Real sparks. Now, I think this is the first time that Pat Priest has been instantly in love as Marilyn with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because that was always, I've already forgotten her name, Beverly Owens. That was her jam.
And Moose gets close to her, not super close.
No. Yeah, Moose is rather polite.
Mm-hmm.
Grandpa suggests that Marilyn take the young man out back to see the garden. And they're like, let's do it. Lily says, don't step on the poison ivy. It's just starting to bloom. So Papa Mallory sure hopes that Herman can straighten it all out so they can move up there and live high on the hog.
Oh, Moose, he gives Marilyn a compliment that I thought was pretty funny. He says, you're prettier than a bucket full of hog livers.
and then didn't Papa Mallory go, well, she is the pick of the litter.
Yeah.
So he realizes that they're hideous family.
Yeah.
And then here comes Marilyn. He's just not scared by him.
Yeah.
That's all.
He's probably also wondering if she's DTF.
Yes, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as Marilyn, she seems like she's she seems like she's in control of herself, and she enjoys going on dates.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So who knows? Cut back to the coach yelling at Herman, "You signed the paper and you're going to play." Trainer's like, "Yeah, where's your sportsmanship?" Coach says, "I refuse to tear up the contract and sign Mallory." Herman throws a classic Herman fit, and he smashes the desk into the floor. He's like, I won't. And he just beats the desk into the concrete ground. Just straight down. Like
a hammer to a nail. Yeah.
Yes. And then Herman realizes what he's done, and he sees that they're scared. So Herman goes, what are you going to do about it? Herman throwing some weight.
Yeah.
Coach starts to tear the contract. Like I said, I'm going to tear this contract and sign Mallory. So Herman saves the day.
Yep.
Come back from the commercial break. We have a radio hooked up to a car battery. And there's the radio broadcast. And now for the local sports. Now for the local sports scene. Moose Mallory led his team to its 15th straight victory and scored 68 points. That's one hell of a game. And it's a conference record. Coach sees the team going to the championships undefeated. Grandpa is so happy. He's so happy. He's got a big grin. He's pumping his fists. He goes, It's just what I wanted to hear. Like he had money on the game.
He might have. Yeah. Probably. He's just a big basketball head, I think. You know, he just loves basketball. Oh, yeah. He loves the game.
Turns out Grandpa is a big sportsman. He's big into wrestling, big into basketball now. I bet you'll be big into other sports soon, too. So Lily, everyone's not mad at Herman anymore, says he has Herman to thank. And Herman says, if we can't help our fellow man up the ladder of success, we are pretty sorry excuses for human beings. Which was like a sincere statement and made people laugh. Probably because of the human beings part.
I guess, yeah. I guess technically they're not. They're not. I don't know. I don't know what the logistics of that is.
Got a vampire and a Frankenstein's monster, whatever.
I mean, and then, Herman at one time was several human beings.
Several human beings. Minimum several. Then Marilyn comes in and says goodnight. She's going on a date with Moose Mallory.
Yeah.
And Lily's like, oh, that nice boy must see something in her that we don't. I'm like, all right. Now, we're in the home stretch here, right? So at any moment could be the joke that ends the show.
Yes.
It wasn't that one.
That could have been a good one, I guess.
Yep. Grandpa decides that he's going to be a peeping Tom. And Moose and Marilyn, like, I'm going to go check these two lovebirds out.
He's like, Grandpa's, I'm going to go peek on Moose and Marilyn. That's what he says. He's like, huh?
And then Herman's like, that's a good idea. Yeah. And Herman and Lily, they follow too. They're like, well, let's all watch.
All right.
Keep your pants up, Grandpa.
Okay.
Lily says, you know, Herman, it must be hard for a boy like Moose to struggle through college on a scholarship. Herman says, you're right, Lily. I bet it calls for many sacrifices. Grandpa, Herman, and Lily, they all look out the front door, and they see Marilyn get into Moose's convertible. Grandpa goes, get a load of that car. Very impressed with the top-up convertible. Herman shrugs and says he must have a job working nights at the school cafeteria. Credits.
It's not horrible.
It's not horrible. That was like, that's a B- on their end of the show jokes, I think. It was okay. But I think the whole thing is college sports are crooked. Is that what the takeaway from this is?
Oh, yeah, they've been that way for ages.
I get that. But I don't know. They're just very overt about it. Well, there it was. Another riveting, no strain episode. All-Star Munster. What'd you guys think?
I dug this one. The basketball scene itself, you know, of him. I really wish they were actually going to get into like a game, like a scene of him actually playing in a game at some point for some reason. Much like in the wrestling one, when we actually had to go do the wrestling matches.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this, and I enjoyed the guy from the Green Acres guy being in here and his weird little voice, and also the whole thing about like we finally get some people who come into the Munster house who aren't like, and they've done this a couple times. Like even the Prince guy wasn't completely like freaked out and running away. He's still a little weirded out, but these guys come in, they're like, oh, all right, this big house. These guys must be rich and they're fine, and nothing wrong with them.
Yeah, the Prince guy though, he was kind of like forced to do it. He had to endure it because otherwise he'd be fired.
But still, I mean, he didn't like a lot of the guys are like they run out the window or and up trees and stuff. And now these guys are just like, oh yeah, it's the Munsters, normal people.
Yep, wasn't too shabby.
No.
What do you think about you, Terry?
I'd say this is an all-star episode. This is good. I like this one.
Hey, look at that.
Yeah, it was good. It was a solid concept. It was really fun seeing Herman playing basketball. I do agree with you, Keith. That would have been great to actually see him like play against other players or something. Mm-hmm. Maybe we'll get that eventually. Surely we'll see Herman play other sports. But yeah, I just thought it was overall solid. Yeah, it was nice. The Kentucky people had me nervous because they seemed really annoying at first, but they did grow on me when they were hanging out with the Munsters. But they were pretty annoying for a little bit.
Yes.
You know, there's a couple things here and there that are kind of like groaners, but so super solid. I like this episode quite a bit. Definitely one of my top episodes, I'd say.
I'm going to agree with both of you. It is the only thing that keeps me from really, really loving this episode is one, how aggressively angry all the Munsters are at one another at some point or another.
Yeah.
Like they're screaming at one another. It's like, Jesus, calm down. And then how dumb the Kentucky people were. Like, they like I get there's like a funny quality to it, like, well, people from the South sure are stupid, right? Like, but it's like, holy smokes, right? That's just a lot. And it must be just more a product of the time, I guess. I don't know. I mean, still, that's still a thing.
It was a bit much, a bit extra, as they say.
It was. Like, they laid it on thick, and they brought in Mr. Haney from Green Acres, right? To do his voice and stuff.
And say cornvertible.
And cornvertible and convenience. But, like, so I think the part that really got me was when they're like, you got a separate room for eating vittles, right? And, like, they're all excited about running water.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, jeez Louise. But yeah, I think this one is a 7.7 IMDb. I feel that hits. That's like kind of in the area. It feels right. Maybe 7.6, 7.8, somewhere around there. Yeah, I didn't think it was too bad. Now, what would have broken the babysitter in this one?
Oh, it's got to be when Grandpa says he's going to go peek on Marilyn, and like, she's probably in the background going like, "Excuse me? Do you do that with all of like Marilyn's boyfriends?" Like that is concerning in the fact that all the other Munsters are like, yeah, that sounds good, and they all get up and do it too.
Yeah.
It's like, there's another layer to this Munsters family dynamic that maybe she didn't really want to know much about, and it probably it stuck with her, and maybe not broke her immediately, but eventually I think some revelations are going to come.
She went home, and like the next day she woke up, she's like, God, that was just too strange. Like she slept on it, and it was still bothering her.
Yep. Yeah. And then
she wonders if they're peeping in on her when she leaves.
Oh yeah, paranoia kicks in.
Yeah, Grandpa. I would not put it past Grandpa. He probably peeps on anybody who comes into that house.
He's got the TV that he can see everything. So
Yes.
yeah,
He
absolutely.
also just turned into like a fly or something, right?
Yeah,
a literal
sure.
fly on the wall.
That's concerning. He could be watching us right now.
He is watching us right now from beyond the grave.
Because he's a vampire.
I'm talking about Al Lewis. I'm not talking about Grandpa Munster.
Eating a bowl of pasta. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
Al Lewis is chilling right now. And it's like, that's right. I can't do an Al Lewis.
Pretty good.
I think that the part that breaks the babysitter in this one is I don't think they ever get Marilyn's tuition settled.
Yeah. That's a problem.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean anything to her anymore. She's dating Moose, so.
Yeah,
she doesn't seem bothered by it. It's probably just a simple plot hole thing, but they solved the whole thing. I think Derek earlier you're like, see, Herman saves the day. Like, so I'm like, well, technically no, because the whole point of him saving the day was to get her back in school.
Yeah, you got to go talk to the dean.
And by the way, I think just taking a check down would have been.
That was what I was going to say. Like, this episode could have ended at minute 3. Lily goes, oh, hold on. Let me just write a check, and you could take it down there.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, the babysitter breaks twice. 1, when she realizes they don't just go take a check down to get this done. And 2, in the end, I don't think they've ever find out if she ever gets back in school or not.
Yeah. I think the babysitter breaks when she sees Herman dunk. Because her and Herman have played lots of driveway basketball, like 21 together and stuff like that. And she's never seen him dunk. In fact, she's won several times. Right? And then all of a sudden she sees Herman dunk, and then she realizes that Herman's been pulling back not to embarrass her. And her confidence is shattered. She's like, I thought I was pretty good at basketball. And that's what breaks the babysitter there.
Man, he probably could have stopped my crossover.
Yeah. It's like I thought I was breaking his ankles for real. It might have been. You think that's bad? Last time I broke my ankles, I'd written a series of mystery novels and was kidnapped by my biggest fan. That's like a multiple things because it's like a misery and I should be a family. Is Family Guy still on TV?
I think so.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
No, see,
I quit watching a long time ago.
Yeah.
I need some fresh blood, Derek. I think you're assuring if you. Apply.
Yeah, I need to get my spec script set up and send it in unsolicited. That's the way they like it.
I'm pretty sure that's all the episodes are now. Are like him just saying, "Well, that was like the time, like 5 different times," and it just shows something, and then they end the episode. That's what it is.
It could have turned into the raunchiest, like softcore porn cartoon. And I wouldn't know. I have no idea. I don't hear anybody talk about it, so I have no idea.
I have the first few seasons on DVD. So,
oh boy, Keith.
but I've had them for like 20 some years. So
you should have got rid of them 19 years ago.
No. The first few seasons are good.
No,
I liked it back in the day. I don't know.
Peter versus the Chicken is one of my favorite things.
Well, it's a clip though, right? Like a clip that's funny. Anyway, I'm not going to sit here and. Litigate the merits of Family Guy.
Are we going to be the Family Guy Hunters next?
No, hell no. You couldn't pay me to sit through that. I've seen a lot of episodes, but I don't think you could pay me to go back and revisit it.
No.
All right. So that was season 1, episode 17, All-Star Munster. It is a critically acclaimed, critics being us, episode. Keith.
Yes.
We know you got other shows that you do when you're not doing this one, so tell us about them.
The Pop-Up Film Cast. We're on our summer tour still. Probably going to be winding down in a little bit because we've spent all of our budget on cleaning crews and us running out of gas. But anyway, we got that going on, so go check that out. And if you do, you'll understand what I'm talking about with the weird references
running
there.
Out of gas? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Also, just started up here for July. That was great, wasn't it? Has returned. We're doing a short series. Toph Green, who's been on Pop Up a lot, he is joining me as we're going over Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines from 1985, an awesome 80s action cartoon.
I believe today is July 4th.
Well, this first episode dropped today then.
Well, there you go.
Episode 2 will be tomorrow. We're doing back to back because I felt July 4th and Monster Trucks went together.
Holy
shit. And so I was like, man, we got to do that.
Oh, there
Makes
you go.
Perfect sense. That's good synergy right there. Yeah.
That is.
That is.
Yeah. And well, I guess it's July 4th as long as I'm able to edit and everything properly.
Oh shit, Jesus. Well, whatever. If it's July 4th or 5th, there's at least 1 or 2 episodes out there.
What if it's July 11th?
Then there's 3 episodes out there, and very much enjoy, folks. If you go to the show notes, where there's a link to a playlist for the full 5 episodes of the show, so you can watch it as we cover it. I'm very much enjoying it. Got one more part to watch. I hope they can land the plane.
Land the plane. in a show about monster trucks.
Yeah. Show's really about Yank Justice, but, you know, Bigfoot's
Yank
there too.
Justice.
I love that name. That's such a good name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lewd.
I guess so, yeah.
Terry, what do you got going on?
I got a little something. You know, speaking of synergy, 4th of July, I do a podcast called Run the Reel where we're talking about famous Japanese director Akira Kurosawa. So, I mean, great movies.
July 4th, Monster Trucks, Munsters, and Kurosawa.
Yep. It's great. Yeah. We're probably going to be on, if my estimations are correct, we're probably going to be talking about either Dreams, which is a late movie by him, is in the 90s, or we're talking about what did we do after Throne of Blood? Yeah, so either way, tune in because both interesting discussions and both very interesting movies. Throne of Blood is definitely a classic. I like that one quite a bit.
And as for me, because I'll edit the other part out, I've got nothing. Absolutely nothing. And then you know how we end every episode.
Action. James. Bonjour. Action. James. Bonjour. Fashion. Bonjour. Bonjour. Bonjour.
The Munster Hunters are Derek Glascock, Keith Gawla, and Terry Vickroy. Keith is the host of the Pop-Up Filmcast, and that was great, wasn't it? Both shows can be found wherever you subscribe to podcasts. For more about Keith's shows, you can follow Pop-Up Filmcast on Twitter at Pop-Up Filmcast. And that was great, wasn't it? At How Great Was That? You can also follow Keith on Twitter at KG3030. Terry is one of the hosts of Run the Reel. It's a movie podcast that does deep dives on films with a theme. You can follow Run the Reel on Twitter at Run the Reel. You can also follow Terry on Twitter at Terry_Vickroy. If you would like more musings from me, you can follow on Twitter at Derek 9 and the word 9. Follow Munster Hunters on Twitter at Munster Hunters and subscribe on your podcatcher of choice for more Munster Hunter fun. Munster Hunters is mixed and edited by me, Derek. All original music is composed and mixed by Terry Vickroy, and executive producers are me and Keith Gawla. The Munster Hunters is a Krispy Dodo production.